The stars outside the floating citadel shone like scattered diamonds, painting the endless void with streaks of silver and blue. Inside the great hall of the alien queen, a different kind of light glimmered, one born from the eyes of hundreds of alien delegates, each waiting, watching, judging. Among them, a human father and his daughter stood at the center, feeling the weight of 100 unspoken doubts. Humanity was rare in this galaxy. Humans were known for their boldness, but they were also considered fragile, impulsive, and incapable of understanding the ways of older, wiser species. The father, Elias, tightened his grip on his daughter Lyra's hand. Lyra was small, almost fragile in appearance, but her eyes shone with sharp intelligence. Her hair, dark and straight, framed a face that held a calmness that belied her age. Many of the alien delegates whispered among themselves, unsure how such a young human could even hope to meet the standards of the Galactic Academy. The Academy was no ordinary school. It was a place where the brightest minds from every corner of the galaxy gathered, learning, innovating, and preparing to lead civilizations. And now, the daughter of a human stood before them, her future hanging in the balance. The doors at the far end of the hall opened, and the alien queen entered. She was taller than most of her species, with a presence that made even the bravest delegates bow instinctively. Her skin shimmered like liquid metal, reflecting the colors of the hall. Her eyes, black and infinite, scanned the room, and when they finally rested on Elias and Lyra, a silence fell over the court. It was a silence that carried the weight of centuries, the judgment of countless worlds. "Why bring a human child before my court?" the alien queen asked. Her voice was smooth but carried an edge sharp enough to cut through steel. "Tell me, father, why do you think she deserves a place in the academy?" Elias swallowed, feeling the tension in his chest tighten. He knew every word here mattered. One wrong syllable could destroy their chances, not just for Lyra, but for how humans were seen across the galaxy. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice steady despite the storm inside him, "I bring my daughter because she has the mind, the courage, and the heart to learn from the greatest minds in the galaxy. But more than that, she carries the spirit of humanity, our ability to adapt, to persevere, and to solve problems that others think impossible." A ripple of whispers moved through the crowd. Aliens from multiple star systems leaned forward, curious and skeptical. Many had dismissed humans as insignificant, yet here was one who dared speak in the presence of their queen, without trembling, without begging. The alien queen's gaze shifted to Lyra. "Do you?" she asked, her voice cold but curious. "Do you believe that you, a human child, can stand among us, the chosen of the galaxy?" Lyra lifted her chin, her eyes steady and unafraid. "Yes, Your Majesty. I believe that learning is not about species or age. It is about curiosity, effort, and courage. I am ready to prove that I can contribute and that I can understand what the Academy teaches." The Queen studied her for a long moment. Then she spoke in a voice that filled the hall like a low, resonant bell. "Humans are known for their unpredictability. They are often reckless, emotional, and fragile. Many species refuse to even consider them for the Academy. What makes you different?" Elias stepped forward slightly, his voice firm. "Because she does not give up. Because she sees solutions where others see walls. Because she listens, learns, and adapts. Humanity may be young, but we endure. We innovate. We grow stronger when faced with challenges. My daughter carries all of this within her. If you give her a chance, you will see that she is not just a human. She is a mind that can shine among the stars." The court remained silent, and then a murmur passed through the delegates. Some tilted their heads, skeptical, while others looked impressed. But the alien queen only narrowed her eyes, as if deciding how much truth there was in his words. "You speak well," she said finally. "Yet words alone do not grant entry to the Academy. Many before have spoken like you, and most have failed." Her gaze sharpened, focusing again on Lyra. "You will undergo a test. Only by facing the challenge before this court can you prove your worth. Fail, and you and your species may find doors closing forever." Elias nodded, and Lyra took a deep breath. She knew what lay ahead would be difficult. The test would not be simple. It would push her mind, her instincts, and her patience to the limits. But she also knew that giving up was not an option. Humans did not give up, not when the stakes were this high. The alien queen signaled, and the hall transformed. Light bent and twisted, forming a shifting labyrinth around Lyra. Gravity seemed to change at every corner. Some paths led upward as if climbing into the sky, while others dropped into invisible voids. Shapes moved, puzzles rearranged themselves, and a low hum of alien energy filled the air. It was a test designed to confuse and overwhelm. Lyra stepped forward carefully, her mind analyzing each twist and turn. She observed patterns, noticing how the light shifted and how the labyrinth seemed to anticipate certain moves. Slowly, methodically, she began to move, using her intuition and creativity to navigate the shifting maze. Every turn presented a new challenge. Floating platforms that required precise timing, moving symbols that demanded quick logic, and sudden illusions meant to distract her from the path. Meanwhile, the court watched. Many delegates exchanged astonished glances. They had never seen a human handle such complex alien-designed challenges. Most species would have panicked or tried to brute force their way through. But Lyra's mind was calm, methodical, and surprisingly clever. Hours seemed to pass, though it might have been only minutes. Lyra reached the heart of the labyrinth, where a final challenge awaited, a simulation of a planetary disaster. A moon was collapsing toward its planet, and the life of thousands of beings depended on quick, accurate decisions. The court expected her to fail, as no human had the experience or knowledge to navigate such crises. But Lyra did not panic. She analyzed the scenario, identified key patterns, and made decisions with careful precision. She rerouted energy flows, stabilized the moon's orbit, and prevented catastrophic destruction. When she finished, the simulation ended perfectly with not a single life lost. A stunned silence filled the hall. Some delegates whispered that humans were capable of luck, but not this level of precision. Others began to murmur that perhaps there was more to humanity than they had believed. The alien queen rose from her seat, her expression unreadable. She studied Lyra closely, then turned to Elias. "It seems words alone do not suffice. Your daughter has performed beyond expectation. Yet the question remains, why should the Academy accept a human? What proof can you offer that your species can contribute meaningfully to a galaxy that has known us for millennia?" Elias took a step forward, feeling the weight of the moment. He looked across the hall at the delegates, at the myriad species that had seen humans as weak, inferior, or reckless. "Because humanity has faced challenges that no other species has faced," he said. "We have survived our own planet's extremes, built civilizations from nothing, and learned to thrive despite every obstacle. We are adaptable, curious, and capable of compassion, creativity, and courage. Lyra is a symbol of all that humanity can be, a mind that can innovate, a heart that can empathize, and a spirit that does not yield to fear or doubt. She is not just a human. She is proof that our species can rise to the highest challenges, that we can stand among the stars with honor and intelligence." The hall remained silent, but the energy had shifted. The delegates, who had once doubted humans, now watched with a mixture of respect and awe. The alien queen's gaze lingered on Elias, then slowly moved to Lyra, whose calm confidence had already made a lasting impression. For the first time, the father and daughter realized that this was not just about Lyra's admission to the Academy. It was about humanity itself, about proving that even a species considered young and weak could rise above expectations, outshine prejudices, and claim a place among the greatest minds in the galaxy. The alien queen leaned back, her voice softer but no less powerful. "You have passed the first measure of human capability. Your daughter has not only demonstrated intelligence but also the qualities that are valued in the Academy: courage, ingenuity, and moral judgment. Yet the test is only beginning. The court will observe her further, and her true abilities must shine in the challenges ahead. Fail, and the doors will close. Succeed, and humanity's place among the stars may be forever altered." Elias nodded, his chest swelling with quiet pride. Lyra smiled, her resolve unwavering. She understood what lay ahead, and she was ready. Humans were not the strongest species nor the oldest, but they were remarkable in ways that even the most advanced civilizations could not always see. And now, the galaxy was about to witness just how remarkable a human mind could be. As the court watched, Lyra prepared herself for the challenges ahead. The first step had been taken. The labyrinth had been conquered, and the court had seen her brilliance. But this was only the beginning. The real tests, the tests that would prove humanity's worth to the galaxy, were yet to come. And in that moment, father and daughter stood together, not just as humans but as symbols of hope, courage, and the endless potential that lay within the human spirit. The stars outside the citadel continued to The hall had returned to stillness, yet a new tension lingered in the air. Lyra and her father stood in the center, both aware that the labyrinth and its simulated challenge had been only the first measure of her abilities. The alien queen's eyes scanned the crowd, her gaze sharp and unyielding as she prepared to announce the next phase of the test. Around them, delegates whispered among themselves, curiosity mixed with doubt, yet many now regarded the human girl with cautious respect. "Your intellect is apparent, human child," the queen said, "but the academy does not thrive on intellect alone. We require adaptability, courage under pressure, and the ability to face challenges no one has ever encountered before. Only by proving yourself against these tests will your worth be confirmed." Lyra inhaled slowly, steadying herself. Her heart beat in a controlled rhythm. She had learned early in life that panic accomplished nothing. The human mind, her father often reminded her, was strongest when calm under pressure. The first test had been difficult, yes, but she had passed it through observation, reasoning, and careful attention to patterns. She knew the next stage would demand more. The alien queen raised her hands and the hall transformed once again. The walls shimmered, dissolving into a vast three-dimensional space that seemed to stretch infinitely in all directions. Floating islands drifted in the void, connected by narrow energy bridges that flickered and disappeared at random. Strange creatures moved along some islands, some translucent and gentle, others sharp and threatening. Symbols floated in the air, constantly shifting, forming riddles and puzzles in alien scripts that twisted perception itself. "This test will evaluate your adaptability," the queen explained. "You will navigate the field of trials. Each path contains obstacles that challenge perception, intellect, and emotion. Fail to understand them, and you may be trapped indefinitely." Lyra stepped forward, feeling the subtle vibration in the floating platforms beneath her feet. She began slowly, observing each island and bridge before stepping onto it. Unlike other species, she did not rely on strength or sheer speed. She relied on observation, inference, and creativity, skills humans had honed over millennia, learning to survive in unpredictable environments. The first island was simple, almost deceptively so. Panels shifted under her feet, creating pathways that seemed to vanish the moment she moved. Lyra paused, letting her eyes follow the patterns. She noticed the timing, the rhythm of the energy shifts, and slowly moved across, each step deliberate. Other species in the court murmured their disbelief. Many assumed she would fall or fail within moments, but her calm determination and attention to detail allowed her to traverse the first challenge with ease. The next challenge was more complex. Symbols in the air rotated constantly, each one containing multiple meanings. Lyra realized they were not only a puzzle of logic but also a test of perception. If she interpreted a symbol incorrectly, the bridge she walked upon would collapse. She closed her eyes briefly, letting intuition guide her, then reached the correct conclusions. Each symbol unlocked the path forward, and she advanced through the floating islands. By now the court had grown silent. Aliens who had expected failure now watched closely, curiosity mixing with growing respect. A few younger delegates whispered that humans, while small and fragile, had a certain persistence, a quality the older species often lacked. Lyra's father, standing in the observation space, could not help but feel a surge of pride, though he remained careful to hide it from the court. The following challenge tested more than logic and observation. A group of alien simulations appeared on an island, a city in chaos threatened by environmental disaster. Water flooded streets, structures teetered on the edge of collapse, and the inhabitants panicked. Lyra understood at once that the test was now assessing empathy and decision-making under pressure. She moved quickly, analyzing the situation. Her first decision was to stabilize the flow of water by diverting it into controlled channels, using energy barriers projected by the floating islands. She then coordinated the movement of simulated inhabitants to higher ground, ensuring that no one was left behind. The system responded to her commands and the city stabilized. When the simulation ended, the court observed that not a single life had been lost. The alien queen's expression remained unreadable, though the subtle tilt of her head suggested interest. Lyra had not only solved logical and perception-based challenges, but had also demonstrated compassion, a rare trait in the galaxy's most advanced species, which often valued efficiency above all else. Humans had long been underestimated, dismissed as emotional and unpredictable, Yet here they were, showing a unique combination of intellect and heart. The third stage of the field of trials tested collaboration. Lyra was now placed in a scenario with holographic versions of other species. These versions simulated leaders from different planets, each with conflicting priorities and stubborn personalities. Lyra needed to negotiate a resolution to a territorial dispute, balancing the needs of all parties without causing further conflict. Most humans would have faltered here. Many species in the galaxy relied on rigid hierarchies or brute force. Lyra relied on communication, understanding, and creativity. She listened carefully to each party, acknowledged their concerns, and proposed solutions that leveraged the strengths of all sides. Slowly, the simulated leaders agreed, and what began as a potentially disastrous conflict ended in cooperation. In the court, whispers of admiration grew louder. Delegates exchanged glances, some nodding in approval. Many had not considered that a human, especially a child, could navigate such complex social challenges. Yet here she was, proving that humanity's ingenuity extended beyond science and strategy into the realm of diplomacy and emotional intelligence. Finally, the last stage of the field of trials awaited her. Lyra approached a vast platform at the center of the floating islands. A deep void surrounded it, filled with shifting light and shadows. The challenge here was to reach the heart of the platform and retrieve a core of pure energy, a glowing orb that seemed alive, but the path was filled with tests designed to exploit fear, illusions of falling, whispers of doubt in the mind, shapes that mimicked failures from past challenges. Lyra paused at the edge, closing her eyes for a brief moment. She remembered her father's words. Fear was a test of perception, not reality. She focused her mind, isolating herself from the illusions, and began to step forward. Each movement was measured, guided by her senses and intuition. Shadows reached toward her. Whispers tried to disorient her, yet she remained steadfast. When she reached the center of the platform, the glowing orb floated before her. Its energy pulsed, responding to her presence. Lyra extended her hand, touched it gently, and felt a surge of understanding. The orb's light spread across the floating islands, stabilizing the shifting paths and revealing a clear route back to the court. She carried the orb carefully, symbolically completing the final challenge. The court was silent, each delegate processing what they had witnessed. Lyra, a human girl, had navigated impossible logic puzzles, stabilized a simulated disaster, negotiated complex social conflicts, and faced illusions meant to break her mind. All without panic, without error, and with remarkable clarity and creativity. The alien queen rose from her seat, her presence filling the hall. "You have performed beyond expectation, human child," she said. "Few species could have completed these trials, and fewer still would have done so with the combination of intellect, courage, and empathy you have demonstrated. You have proven that humans are capable of extraordinary accomplishments. Your species' potential is now evident to all present." Lyra looked at her father, a small smile forming on her lips. Elias nodded, pride shining in his eyes. They both understood the significance of this moment. Humanity, once underestimated and dismissed by the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, had now earned respect through skill, intelligence, and moral courage. Yet, the Queen continued, her voice carrying across the hall, the path to the Academy is not determined by a single display of capability. There are still decisions to be made, deliberations by the Council, and the final judgment must be delivered. For now, rest and prepare. More challenges may await, but know that you have already impressed even the most skeptical of observers. As Lyra and her father moved to the observation chamber, the delegates began to murmur among themselves. The perception of humanity was shifting, quietly, but irrevocably. Humans were no longer the fragile, unpredictable species many had assumed. They were intelligent, adaptable, and courageous, capable of facing impossible odds and overcoming them with a combination of logic, empathy, and ingenuity. In the quiet of the observation chamber, Elias turned to his daughter. "You have done more than prove yourself," he said softly. "You have shown the galaxy what humans are truly capable of." Lyra smiled, though her eyes remained focused and thoughtful. "It's not just about me, Father," she said. "It's about all of us, humans. If we can show even a little of what we can do, maybe the galaxy will start to see us differently." Elias nodded. "And they will. One step at a time, humanity will rise, and the stars will know our name." Outside, the citadel drifted among the stars, a symbol of civilizations, knowledge, and opportunity. Within it, a human girl had taken her first. The court had fallen silent. Lyra had completed the field of trials, navigating challenges that had tested intellect, perception, and empathy. The alien delegates who had entered the hall expecting failure now looked on with something bordering on astonishment. Whispers ran through the chamber like waves, spreading disbelief, curiosity, and cautious admiration. Yet the alien queen's expression remained unreadable. Her eyes, dark and infinite, locked onto Elias, the human father, waiting for the words that would either cement humanity's place in the galaxy or confirm the doubts that had long shadowed their species. Elias stepped forward. Every eye in the hall seemed to weigh him, measuring the human against millennia of alien superiority. He felt the pressure, yet beneath it a quiet determination pulsed through him. This was the moment not only to defend his daughter, but to show the galaxy that humanity was more than it had ever been allowed to appear. He took a deep breath, centering himself, and began to speak. Your Majesty, esteemed delegates, I speak today not just as a father, but as a representative of a species that has survived, adapted, and flourished against every obstacle imaginable. He began, his voice steady and calm. Humans are young compared to most of you. We do not have the wisdom of 1,000 years, the experience of countless civilizations, but we have something that transcends age and experience: resilience, creativity, and an unyielding spirit. A few delegates leaned forward, curiosity piqued. Even the alien queen's eyes flickered with interest, though she said nothing. Consider what humanity has faced, Elias continued. Our planet has challenged us at every turn. We have endured natural disasters, unpredictable climates, disease, and conflict. Each time we have not only survived, but we have grown stronger. We have built civilizations from nothing, explored the unknown, and reached for knowledge that often seemed beyond our grasp. We have learned that the impossible is only a word until we find a way to achieve it. He paused, allowing his words to settle. He could feel the attention of every delegate, the silence so profound it pressed against him like a weight. Yet he did not falter. My daughter Lyra has demonstrated a small fragment of what humans are capable of. She has solved puzzles that require logic beyond our own understanding, faced illusions designed to break the mind, and navigated crises that demanded both intelligence and empathy. But what she has truly shown is what humanity carries in every heart: the courage to face the unknown, the determination to find solutions where none seem possible, and the willingness to act not for glory, but for the well-being of others. The murmurs grew louder. Some delegates nodded, exchanging looks of astonishment. Others seemed to hesitate, their preconceived notions of humans beginning to crumble. Many of you have dismissed humans as reckless, fragile, and impulsive, Elias said, his tone sharpening with quiet intensity. You have measured us by our size, our age, our outward appearance, and found us wanting. Yet these trials, complex beyond imagination, have shown that we are not weak. We are adaptable, we are thoughtful, and above all, we are capable of brilliance when challenged. Lyra's success here is proof that humanity's potential cannot be ignored, nor can it be underestimated. He let his words linger, the weight of history pressing against the silence. The hall was still. Even those delegates who had initially scoffed now watched intently, some with expressions that betrayed newfound respect. You may ask why the Academy should accept a human, Elias said, raising his eyes to meet the alien queen's piercing gaze. The answer is simple: because we bring a perspective that is unique, untamed by millennia of rigid tradition, shaped not by dominance or fear, but by curiosity, collaboration, and the courage to rise when everything seems against us. Lyra is not merely a human child. She is a representative of all that humanity can achieve when given the chance. To admit her is not merely to admit one human. It is to recognize a species capable of growth, creativity, and moral courage. The queen remained silent, her expression unreadable, yet Elias sensed a subtle shift. Her eyes, those infinite pools that had judged countless beings, now held a trace of admiration. He continued, his voice gaining strength with each word. The galaxy may have looked at humans and seen youth, weakness, and unpredictability. But what you have seen in Lyra today is not the exception. It is the essence of our species. We survive not because we are the strongest, nor the oldest, nor the most experienced. We survive because we learn, because we adapt, because we act with both thought and heart. We rise to challenges when others falter. We endure when others give up. And we shine when the universe tells us we cannot. A low murmur of acknowledgement passed through the delegates. Some began to clap softly, though many remained still, unsure if etiquette allowed more. The tension in the hall had shifted. Where once there had been doubt and skepticism, now there was curiosity, respect, and even a hint of admiration. You may wonder if one species, one human, can truly contribute to the Academy, Elias said, his voice firm and unwavering. But the Academy is not a place for the strongest alone, nor the oldest alone. It is a place for those who seek knowledge, who face challenges with courage and integrity, and who can bring new insights to the galaxy. Lyra embodies all of these qualities. She represents what humans are capable of, and I assure you, we are only beginning to show what we can offer. The court was silent again. The alien queen rose fully, her presence commanding every corner of the hall. You speak boldly, human, she said, her voice echoing in the chamber. You claim that your species possesses qualities worthy of the Academy, and yet humans are young, inexperienced, and often impulsive. Why should I accept words spoken by a father, however eloquent, as proof of your species' worth? Elias met her gaze, unwavering. Because, Your Majesty, words are not the only proof. Actions speak louder than any declaration. My daughter has faced trials that would have broken many beings far older and wiser than her. She has demonstrated intelligence, courage, empathy, and creativity in ways that cannot be taught, only revealed through true challenge. The court has witnessed her success, her determination, and her character. That is the proof you seek. Lyra has acted not to impress, but to survive, to solve, and to serve. In doing so, she has shown that humans can stand among the stars and contribute meaningfully to your Academy. The Queen's eyes narrowed slightly, her gaze sharp and intense, but Elias continued without hesitation. We are not the strongest, but we endure. We are not the oldest, but we learn quickly. We are not invincible, but we persevere. Lyra has shown this in ways that cannot be measured by alien standards alone. She has shown the essence of humanity, and if humanity can shine through a child, imagine what we can achieve together with knowledge, opportunity, and the chance to stand among the stars. For a moment, the hall was completely silent. The murmurs had ceased. Every delegate, from the youngest observers to the most ancient beings in the chamber, was focused on the human father and the human child, who had already captured their attention through skill and courage. The alien queen looked at Lyra once more, then back at Elias. I see, she said finally, her voice deliberate and slow. You have spoken not only with conviction, but with truth. Your daughter has proven herself. You have spoken for your species, and in doing so, you have reminded this court that the galaxy is vast, yet potential cannot be measured by age or size alone. A soft wave of approval passed through the hall. Many delegates began to nod, recognizing the wisdom in his words. Some whispered among themselves, admitting, perhaps for the first time, that humans had more to offer than they had ever imagined. The Queen's gaze returned to Elias, and then almost imperceptibly she inclined her head. Humanity has not been judged lightly, she said, yet your words, combined with your daughter's accomplishments, have given us pause. You have reminded us that courage, intelligence, and integrity are not confined to the oldest or the largest species. You have spoken well, human, and your voice carries truth. The council will deliberate, but know that you have made your position unmistakable. You have silenced doubt, not with force or threat, but with clarity, courage, and conviction. Elias exhaled quietly, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. His words had reached not only the Queen, but the entire court. Humans, long underestimated, had earned a measure of respect through reason, integrity, and the undeniable brilliance of one extraordinary child. Lyra, standing beside him, looked up at her father with pride and quiet awe. They both understood the significance of what had just occurred. Humanity had not only survived the court's scrutiny, it had impressed, challenged assumptions, and planted the seed of recognition among the galaxy's most advanced beings. The Queen's final words echoed softly, carrying through the chamber like a slow, deliberate drumbeat. Let this court remember, the smallest voice, the youngest hand, and the most underestimated species may yet shape the course of the galaxy. You, human, have reminded us all that potential cannot be measured by appearance or age, but by courage, wisdom, and heart. The hall remained silent for a few moments longer, then slowly erupted in quiet murmurs and gestures of acknowledgement. The delegates had witnessed a shift, subtle yet profound. For the first time, humans were being seen as more than curious anomalies. They were being seen as... The hall was quiet now, but the air was thick with anticipation. After Elias's words had silenced the court, the delegates lingered, exchanging glances and murmurs that carried respect, wonder, and cautious hope. Lyra stood beside her father, her small hand clasped in his, feeling a mixture of nervousness and excitement. She had faced impossible challenges, solved alien puzzles, navigated crises, and shown wisdom beyond her years. Yet she knew this final moment. The judgment of the alien queen would define her future and, in many ways, the way the galaxy saw humanity. The alien queen rose, her tall form moving with the grace of someone who commanded not just attention but reverence. Her liquid metal skin shimmered as she approached the central platform where Elias and Lyra stood. The court fell silent once again. No one dared interrupt. The power of her presence filled the chamber, yet there was a flicker of something new in her expression, a recognition that humans, small and young though they might be, had achieved the extraordinary. "You have spoken well, human," the queen began, her voice echoing like distant thunder, deep and commanding. "And your daughter has performed feats that surpass what most species could accomplish, even with centuries of training. The court has witnessed not just her intelligence, but her courage, her empathy, and her creativity. These are qualities the Academy holds in the highest regard." Lyra swallowed, keeping her composure. She had expected this moment to be difficult, yet hearing the queen acknowledge her efforts stirred a warmth in her chest. It was not pride, not exactly. It was the quiet satisfaction of knowing that her work, her choices, and her spirit had mattered. The queen continued, "Many have doubted humans. Many have dismissed them as weak, impulsive, and unworthy of the knowledge and opportunity the Academy provides. Today, this court has witnessed a human face those doubts and overcome them in ways that cannot be measured by mere observation or theory. Lyra has proven that humanity's potential cannot be ignored. That potential deserves a place among the stars." A ripple of murmurs spread through the delegates. Some whispered in astonishment. Others nodded solemnly, acknowledging that the human species, once underestimated, had shown qualities even the most advanced civilizations sometimes lacked. There were glances exchanged between delegates of different species, as if a collective realization had struck. Humanity was more capable than most had believed. The queen's eyes returned to Elias and Lyra, sharp and unyielding yet softened by recognition. "Lyra, child of humanity, do you understand the responsibility that comes with this acknowledgement? To join the Academy is not merely an honor. It is a commitment to excellence, to learning, and to shaping the future of the galaxy. Many who enter falter, for the challenges are relentless, the expectations immense, and the stakes, life itself, cannot be ignored." Lyra nodded, her voice clear and unwavering. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will not falter. I will learn. I will work hard, and I will honor the opportunity given to me, and I will strive to represent humanity with the courage, intelligence, and compassion my father has described." The hall remained still, every eye focused on the girl who had carried herself with such composure. Even those who had once doubted humans now looked on with respect, acknowledging her abilities and recognizing that she represented something far greater than herself. The alien queen's expression softened further, and she raised her hands to signal the council. A series of holographic symbols appeared above the central platform, representing the deliberation of delegates from dozens of star systems. The court fell silent as the council's decision was projected for all to see. "The council has spoken," the queen said. "Lyra, child of humanity, you are admitted to the Galactic Academy. You are to be the first of your species to join the institution, and your accomplishments here today shall be recorded in the Academy's annals as proof that humans are capable of excellence beyond measure. Your name and the name of your species shall henceforth be respected, acknowledged, and given the opportunity to contribute to the greater good of the galaxy." A quiet cheer spread through the court, gentle but unmistakable. Some delegates offered gestures of congratulations, subtle nods and slight bows. Even the most skeptical observers could not hide their respect. For the first time, humanity had earned a recognition that transcended prejudice, doubt, and fear. Lyra's father exhaled, feeling a weight lift from his shoulders. His chest swelled with pride, not only for his daughter, but for what her success represented. Humanity, small and often underestimated, had begun to claim its place among the stars. He looked down at Lyra, seeing the spark of determination and wonder that mirrored his own, and knew that this was only the beginning of something much larger. As the hall cleared, Lyra and Elias walked toward the observation chambers. The court's proceedings were over, but the feeling of triumph lingered. Delegates continued to exchange respectful glances, whispers of admiration, and in some cases, quiet excitement at the prospect of working with a species that had proven its worth so dramatically. Outside the citadel, the stars shone as if in celebration, distant and silent witnesses to a moment that would mark the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history. Humanity, once a species looked down upon, was now recognized as a force capable of brilliance, compassion, and courage. Lyra's admission to the Academy symbolized not just personal achievement, but the emergence of humanity on the galactic stage. That night in the observation chambers, Lyra and her father spoke quietly. "I didn't expect it to be this overwhelming," Lyra said softly, her eyes reflecting the glow of the stars. Elias smiled, ruffling her hair gently. "It is overwhelming," he said, "but it is also proof that you and humanity can rise to the challenges of the galaxy. Today was just the first step. The Academy will demand more, but you have shown that humans are capable of learning, adapting, and excelling. That is a gift few species possess." Lyra nodded, feeling a quiet determination settle within her. She knew that the Academy would be challenging, that many trials awaited, and that her every step would reflect not just on her but on all of humanity. But she also knew that humans had survived far greater challenges on their own planet, that they had built civilizations, explored mysteries, and reached for the impossible. The galaxy, vast and often indifferent, had underestimated them for too long. The next morning, the Citadel's docks were alive with activity. Ships from multiple systems arrived, bringing students, instructors, and observers from far corners of the galaxy. Lyra and her father were escorted onto a sleek, luminescent transport that would take them to the Academy's central campus. Along the way, Lyra watched the vast expanse of space stretch infinitely, stars twinkling like a promise of the adventures to come. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. "Remember, Lyra," he said, "the Academy will challenge you in ways the court could not. But you have already shown what humans can do. Keep that courage, that intelligence, and that heart. Let them guide you and you will shine." Lyra nodded, feeling a sense of resolve and excitement she had never known. She had faced alien courts, impossible puzzles, and simulations of life and death crises, and she had prevailed. Now she would enter the Academy, not as an outsider, not as an anomaly, but as a representative of a species that had proven its worth. When the transport docked at the Academy, Lyra stepped out onto a platform filled with students from countless species, each remarkable in their own way. Some glanced at her with curiosity, others with skepticism, but Lyra held her head high. She remembered her father's words, the alien queen's acknowledgement, and the trials she had overcome. Humanity had earned its place, and now it was up to her to prove that the respect she had been given was deserved. The Academy's instructors approached, sleek beings with forms that seemed almost fluid in motion. They welcomed her, their voices carrying tones of interest and expectation. Lyra realized that this was a beginning, not an end. The doors had opened, and beyond them lay knowledge, challenge, and opportunity unlike anything she had known, as the sun, or its alien equivalent, set over the campus, casting long shadows across the crystalline structures. Lyra stood with her father one last time before he would leave. "I'll make you proud," she said softly. Elias smiled, pride shining in his eyes. "You already have," he said. "The galaxy has seen what humans can do. Now it is your turn to show them even more." Lyra turned toward the Academy, feeling a mixture of anticipation, determination, and wonder. She was no longer just a human child from a distant planet. She was a student of the Galactic Academy, a representative of humanity, and a symbol of what her species could achieve. Every step she took on that crystalline campus would echo the lessons of courage, resilience, and ingenuity that humans had carried for generations. And as the stars shimmered overhead, she knew one truth with absolute certainty: humanity's time had come. The galaxy had seen their spark, and now the light of their potential would shine ever brighter. Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the weight of history and the promise of the future. And the doors of the Academy opened before her, inviting her into a new world of knowledge, challenge, and opportunity. Humanity had stepped onto the stage of the stars, and Lyra would carry their spirit forward. proving that even the youngest and smallest among them could shine with brilliance.